now we're getting started in the kitchen this morning with a delicious dessert recipe from one of our favorite chefs. Danielle Kartes joins me now with her take on sticky topping pudding.
Sticky toffee pudding. Okay,
What?
so this is so British. Very British of us. I mean, and I feel like sticky toffee pudding is just Christmas. I feel like when you're a little kid and you're reading books and there's all kinds of fun stuff, there's always like a little spot of toffee pudding. And the fun thing is, like, I remember reading like A Christmas Carol or some sort of Dickens book as a child and imagining an actual pudding, because here in the States, pudding is like chocolate pudding, vanilla, tapioca. A pudding in Britain is actually a cake. So I could be misspeaking a little bit, but it's kind of fun.
I feel like we're on the British baking show already right now. Party of two.
I love it. I love it. And here we have some dates and apple juice that I've already brought to a boil. Wow. And these take about 5 minutes. I don't know if the camera can get inside here to show us.
It looks
but
like,
how cool
is
like
that? Caramel.
Yes,
like
so
with
this is what we start with. Here's a beautiful little date, which is kind of like a plum.
Okay.
And they dry them out and they're jammy and fun. And we're just gonna make our cake base super easy over here. And I'm gonna use this little guy.
Yes.
So what we've got is 3 eggs.
And what's in there? Just sugar?
This is both of our sugars.
Okay,
yeah, so we've got brown sugar and white sugar. And then, you know what? I'm going to have you mix a little bit right here.
Put me to work.
Yes, ma'am. I will add the butter, and we're just going to go quick. We're going to pretend that in between each one, because we have some fun steps here.
This already smells so good.
Doesn't it smell like Christmas?
I've never met a dessert that I haven't loved. So
and you know
this
what
is
I
great.
love to do? In a lot of recipes, they'll say, go ahead and add the cinnamon in with the dry ingredients. I like to wake this guy up and add him in with the wet ingredients, because cinnamon is dried bark. You want to sort of rehydrate it, and I think it tastes a little bit better.
Oh my gosh, I love all your pro tips.
I do the same stuff with the salt.
Okay.
So in goes our salt. And now we're gonna add just 1.25 cups of flour.
Okay.
Mix that bad boy all together.
And this is our little cake base, you said, right?
Yes. And in goes our mashy, amazing dates.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna borrow this from you.
Please.
I probably should have brought us 2 spoons.
It's okay. I kind of like, it's like teamwork.
I know, I'm like, tag team. Spoon.
We got it.
I know, I should have brought more stuff.
I would win the British baking show if you were with me.
Wouldn't
so
you?
I need to be your teammate.
I love teammate stuff. I'm like, okay, you do this, I do this.
It makes it more fun in the kitchen when you're cooking together.
Okay, now next part. I love a dirty pan.
I do too.
I don't want to dirty up 45
one?
million pans.
Exactly.
We're gonna bring this little guy to a boil. This is gonna be the secret ingredient to make the pudding.
And what did you put? Just water?
Just water.
Okay.
You could do more apple juice if you wanted.
Okay.
But just water. So this is actually kind of fun. So what I'm gonna have you do is we're kind of getting all fast and crazy over here. So look we're gonna pretend that this pan is a little bit bigger. Because it's just it's just what we had.
It's what we had now.
This is what I love about Christmas, you guys. The #1 thing I want people to remember right now is don't do too much. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have Pinterest-worthy everything. Your kids just want you to be present with them. They want you to bake with them. And say no more. Don't break your bank. Don't go into January eating ramen noodles because you bought stuff you shouldn't have.
So true. Is this something you could make ahead of time
Absolutely.
too, to not stress out like the night before?
Yes, I made this little guy last night.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit. We're gonna pretend that it's all totally mixed.
Yes, perfect.
I'm gonna put a little bit in the bottom, and I have a wet piece of parchment paper, which is actually kind of fun.
How do you wet it? Like, what do you mean?
You literally just wet it.
Really?
And because we're pretending, guys, you're
not sticking, so
you're
it doesn't
pretending.
stick?
Hang on one second. I'll tell you in a second. Just pretend. Pretend that this is not.
Yes.
Pretend that he's empty. So this is the cool part. When you put parchment paper inside anything, it's like all over the place. You have to butter it or cut it.
Right.
You can crumple it in a little ball and get it wet, and then you can just stick it in here, and he kind of just stays where he should. Isn't that
so crazy? I have never heard of that tip.
Yes.
You're full of them today. I'm loving it.
I love a little tip. Now we're going to dot the top with butter because who doesn't love that?
So we know it's going to taste good with that.
This is going to add to the pudding part on the bottom. We're going to add a little bit of brown sugar on top too.
Ooh.
Look at this. And then what's going to happen by lovely gravity is this is going to turn to an actual, here we go, pretend this is boiling.
Okay.
I love all the pretend.
I know.
You put this on top of the cake.
What?
Yeah. This feels like so wrong.
It does.
And then you put this into the oven.
For how long?
This goes like 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay.
So it's actually kind of puddingy. And everybody's oven is different and they swing 50 degrees. So if a recipe says 20, 30, whatever minutes, just watch it.
Okay.
So here we're gonna take our cute little antique platter.
Oh.
And while this little guy, here we go. We're gonna pop this in here. Again, going in with the dirty pan.
Right.
We need more toffee sauce.
And that's kind of like a caramel-like sauce on top? Okay.
So go for it. Pour the cream in here.
Ooh.
So heavy cream, brown sugar.
Yum.
And even if you're not a cook, you could totally do this.
I could do this.
Yeah. A little bit of salt because we gotta salt everything. And then we're gonna borrow this guy, stir him up. And look at this actually feels like it's never gonna turn into toffee sauce, but it does.
And
then
how long
watch
does that take for like
this
just
little
a few
guy
minutes?
will probably go for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, it's so fast. And this is also something fun you could do with guests. So now I'm gonna take my little pudding.
Okay.
And we're gonna be bold here. I'm gonna flip him over.
Be bold.
Be bold. And we're gonna unveil the bottom.
Look at the bottom of that.
And because I made it last night, the toffee sauce is kind of like rehydrated. But imagine, if you will, that this is more gooey.
That already
and look
looks
at the
so
bottom
gooey
is
and
so
delicious.
gooey. It just mixes into the cake like perfectly.
Oh my gosh.
And then, my dear, we have more for you.
We must add all of the sticky
So
toffee.
look at this. We get more toffee sauce all over the top.
It really is looking like caramel.
Isn't that crazy? I just
my
think it's so
gosh.
much fun. And this comes from my book, Butter, Flour, Sugar, Joy. I brought my 2 bestsellers here.
This is so cute
Aren't
too.
they
Little
cute?
Chef, my very first
Yes.
cookbook. What's that one about?
This is for kids.
Oh my
Isn't that so
gosh.
fun? So anywhere from 4 to 7 years old. So, I mean, my kids still cook out of this. And then I've got some girlfriends in LA that they use my kids'
I was gonna say
cookbooks because they're easy. It's regular recipes.
And then your first one, you said this is where the sticky toffee pudding is.
And this is Butter, Flour, Sugar, Joy. And I made this book for people that don't bake because believe it or not, I'm not a baker.
How? What?
I want stuff to be easy. I want it to be dump and stir and fun. And so here comes the piece de resistance.
And is this one that you make every year? Is this something that
Every year.
screams Christmas and the
Yes,
holiday
my
season?
sister loves it. My mom loves it. And look at this hot, gorgeous toffee.
Oh my goodness.
Goes all over the top.
That is so fun. And
Isn't that so cool?
I just, my mind is blown. Do I get to
Every time I
taste
make
test
it, yes. You get to bite into the whole
now?
cake.
Oh my gosh, I'm so.
Here we go. Let me get. I want one.
You gotta
I handed
dig
you
in
both
too.
like a creep.
What are some of your other favorite holiday recipes that you make for the fam around this
what?
season?
We
I
are
wanna
a
dive
big
in.
Swedish meatball family. I love Swedish meatballs on Christmas Eve. We do that in a prime rib. And I've got a Christmas special coming out on YouTube on the 6th, which will be so fun.
First of all,
Isn't that amazing?
that is divine. I even feel like this would be good in the morning with coffee,
Yes.
a little
That's the best. Your
this
house
is the
quiet.
best. Thank
is
you.
so much
I'm
fun.
literally that is so good. I want spoonfuls and spoonfuls.
Well, you know
of
what?
it.
We're going to get you a nice big hunk.
Please.
Before everybody in the back digs into it, I will set you aside a Kelly piece.
Thank you so much
You're
for being
welcome.
here.
New Day Northwest Kitchen is brought to you by Safeway.